I feel led to have spoken this because I feel it's very important and it needs to be spoken. I've gotten in arguments with people on Facebook before because I would say that, homosexuality is a sin against God and that it's something that people should repent of. And I will get Christians who will come back at me and say, hey, you're not supposed to judge people. And they will say, you are wrong because we're supposed to love people. And besides, I'm not going to do that because it's not right for you to judge others people. I have people in my family that are homosexual, and it offends people when you talk that way. It's not right, for you to do that because I'm a Christian and I believe and my family members are gay and I'm okay with that and you should be too. Let me tell you something. And you can take this in any form you wish. Alright? But this is just simple. It goes like this. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 through 39. 34 through 39. Jesus said to them, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace on the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against his mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemies will be those of his own household. Said, he who loves his father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves his son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it." This, if you break this down, it's pretty simple to understand, but just in case you missed it, I'll explain it a little bit better, so that there's no confusion, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to be some kind of hateful-minded, bigoted person. I'm just stating what true Christianity is. You see, in verse 34 it says, "Do not think I have come to bring peace on the earth, but a sword. I come to bring a sword." This shows that Christ was not tolerant of evil. Everybody thinks that Jesus was pacifist and wouldn't take a stand. He took a stand when it was necessary. He didn't get violent, but he did speak his mind when it was necessary. I mean, that verse shows that Jesus came knowing that what he taught and what he stood for was going to make evil people angry because it stood for what was right. In verse 35 and 36, he says, "For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against his mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a son against his father, and this and that and the other." What he's saying is, follow me, and you must expect resentment from everyone that's close to you, even your own family. He's saying, choose me and expect to get flack from everybody around you. People are going to look at you that've known you your whole life, and they're going to call you a hypocrite. They're going to dislike you because of what you stand for, and they're going to dislike you because of your faith in Jesus Christ. And then, for 37, it says, "He who loves his father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves his daughter or son more than me is not worthy of me." This tells you plain and straight out. Jesus said it. Don't put the desires or the wants and the need to feel accepted by your parents or by siblings or by children as a higher priority than Christ or his teachings. If you do that, you've messed up and you're not worthy of him. Okay? You're not worthy of him. None of us are, but it's one thing to be accidentally not worthy and another thing to be ignorantly choosing to be not worthy. You see, verse 38 goes on. It says, "He who does not take up his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me." There's this trend going around that you believe in Jesus Christ and all of a sudden your finances will work out, and all of a sudden, you're going to have peace and happiness. And yes, you do have an inner peace and inner joy that stays with you no matter how many times people attack you. You get sad, you get down, but that joy is always there. And people who don't have it don't understand it. They try to attack it because they hate it. But the thing is Jesus wasn't being a prosperity preacher for the sake of prosperity. He was teaching prosperity, yes, but he's also saying right there in plain English, which, I mean, he spoke Hebrew and Aramaic, but I'm saying in the Bible, his words in English is stating it. Pick up the cross and follow me, or else you're not worthy. To him, this was not a metaphor, okay? This wasn't meaning be willing to put up with people picking on you. It meant be willing to die. It meant love the message of God so much that you're willing to have everybody in your family turn on you and hate you, and be willing to love God and the message of Christ so much that you're willing to literally pick up a cross and be nailed to it. Because, see, Jesus didn't have a metaphoric cross. He took a literal cross. And he was spit on and mocked and mistreated by everyone, including his own family. His own brothers made fun of him for claiming to be the Son of God. They mocked him. They thought he was crazy. And you see, Jesus is saying you have to be willing to abandon everything. All things, all people, everything. And expect to be killed for that message, or you're not worthy of him. That's a lot different than saying, be ready to take on people who want to pick at you. No, this ain't about picking at you. This is about being willing to sacrifice your life like that man that died on that cross sacrificed his life. See, and I'm almost done here. You see Matthew chapter 8, 19 through 22. Jesus said, then a certain scribe came to him, or it didn't say Jesus said it, but it says a certain scribe came to Jesus and said to him, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, the birds of the air have nests, foxes have holes, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Then another one of his disciples said to him, Lord, let me go and bury my father, and then I will come back and follow you. And Jesus said to him, Follow me, and let the dead bury their own dead. Now, that's pretty simple too, but I'll break it down real fast. You see, people seem real eager until they realize that they're going to have to give up everything to follow Christ. When they realize they have to give up the evil choices they make, and they have to give up the evil things they've attached themselves to. All of a sudden, it becomes a chore that they're not really wanting to take care of, and not wanting to pick up and put on their shoulders, to be burdened with it. You see, Jesus was telling people in that verse that you must be emotionally detached from material things, and that you have to make the mission of the message your life, or else you are not worthy of him. You see, it says, first let me go bury my father, and then I will come and follow you. And Jesus told him, no, let the dead bury their own dead and follow me. He is telling him, look, you can't do nothing about that. And those people, they don't believe what you believe. They don't have the message. They don't have the love. They don't have the light of God inside of them. They don't respect the light the way that you do. Love the light enough to be willing to just, you should look at that, even a situation like a parent dying, and you should say to yourself, it doesn't matter as much as this message. If you were out preaching and your parent died and they were having a funeral, but you were supposed to deliver a sermon somewhere, most pastors would call off and go home to their parents. But you see, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to put the sermon and the message above all things, above your marriage, above your children, above your parents, above your family and friends. Be willing to pick up the cross and follow him. Even if some of the people you love are homosexual, if you know what they're doing is wrong and it's against God and it's of darkness and not of light, You need to be courageous enough to stand and say, I love you, but I do not support what you choose to do. It is wrong, and I am not going to be tolerant or accepting of it. Stand for what's right. If you're going to claim you're a Christian, stand for what's right, because your eternal soul will go to either heaven or hell based on how much you loved that man and what he died for.